this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Hey, welcome to Get It Right Texoma with the trio, Mike Hendren, Terry McAdams, Trey Sralla, back with you once again. Thank you for joining us. We do appreciate it. We get together here to entertain and inform you. Hopefully we manage to do that. And hopefully enlighten you as well. So thank you for being with us.
And even though we don't have an empty seat here, stay tuned because we will have a special guest.
We do. Mike Mitchell is going to join us. Mike is a local mortgage lender, but he's also involved in a project about revitalization in the city. There's a particular
that's what
area.
He's going to be here to talk about. Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about that here and city revitalization.
And I have a feeling it's going to be a very informative conversation.
I think you're probably right. Knowing Mike as I do, he's a very informative guy.
Yeah,
the magnificent from the days of Johnny Carson.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that. One of my all-time favorite one. Ed hands Johnny the envelope. Sis boom ba. Name the sound a sheep makes before it explodes. And they broke up. Ed and Johnny got to laughing and couldn't stop. For some reason, that cracked them up, and they just totally broke character and just and then the audience is roaring because they're laughing, you know.
But it's crazy though. But by all accounts, Johnny Carson was a miserable bastard, and it's amazing that a guy could be so funny and engaging on TV.
I didn't realize that.
Very private life. Well, the story I've read about him was in particular he only had his home was massive, but it was one bedroom because he didn't want family and friends wanting to come over and stay over and hang out.
I have no place for it.
So they had like a guest house for family when they would visit, but his main house had one bedroom.
But I just always heard people talk about that he was a pretty miserable dude in a lot of ways.
Well, I think he was
a curmudgeon.
Very quiet, very private guy. And I think when you're in the entertainment industry like that, and your people are constantly clamoring for your attention, and then you become what he became, the king of late night. Yeah. Your show is the show everybody. If they make it on your show, they've made it. And
Carson was big. It was every comedian in the world that was their dream is we're on Carson.
If you got an appearance on the stage on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and Johnny looked at you and went,
"Yeah, you got the nod, you
got the wave to come over." You'd made it.
Yeah, when you were on the couch,
you were in.
Well, Steve Martin, Robin Williams, a lot of. I saw some old ones.
Jerry Seinfeld. All the big the ones that made massive careers. So.
Robin Williams was God. What incredible.
That one, I would not be able to have been around that guy very long.
It's hard.
That guy in the mouth. That guy. I've seen him on stuff interviewed. He's so over the top and outrageous, and he won't shut up a little bit. I have no respect for that guy. No,
really?
No,
really?
Not at all.
Wow.
Not at all. He made people around him miserable. You could see how uncomfortable he makes everybody around. It's like, look, jackass, we're all here making a living, and just because you're the star, you're screwing up everybody's deal. I just think it's wrong, and because he was the star and he had the power and authority, I think it's bullshit. I don't like people who do that way.
Well, good news was that I was in love with Mindy on More
Comedy.
And by the way, I didn't think Robin Williams was that funny, by the way, either. I think most of his comedy was stupid because it was beyond weird. Now, he was a good actor. Like not Good Will Hunting. What was the Dead Poet Society? Yeah. The guy had acting chops. He really did. And he was a good actor, but I've just seen enough and heard enough where he was so outrageous and so over the top and just made life miserable for people around him.
I think the guy had a lot of insecurities personally.
Obviously.
And I think some people, the way they deal with those insecurities is they are over the top. They feel like they have to really exude and their personality has to be bigger than life. And that's how they overcome their shyness or their insecurities or whatever.
Sure. But when it starts affecting everybody around you, I think that's a problem.
There were probably some chemical enhancements that didn't help much either.
Probably so, yeah.
So anyway, hey, be sure to check out our website, GetItRightTexoma.com, and visit us on Facebook as well. Be sure to like our Facebook page and share it with everybody you know, because that's how we grow the show, is through you. So let's talk about a couple things happening here before we get to our guest here coming up. City Lights Parade is coming up on December the 21st. 7 p.m. Starts at 8th and Austin, winds through downtown. Should be a fairly large parade this year by all accounts.
Yeah, unless the weather just turns out really crappy.
Yeah, I think as long as the weather breaks good, and it usually does.
Yeah,
and I think they're it seems like they're later this year having the parade than they have been in the past. It feels like it was earlier.
I think you're right. I mean, you think about that. We're talking about that's basically the Saturday before Christmas.
Yeah, and I feel like in years past we've even had it closer to Thanksgiving than Christmas.
Yeah, it seemed like it's been a week or so after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so anyway, that's going to be on the 21st. Downtown Wichita Falls, do not miss out on that. Fantasy of Lights is underway at Midwestern State University. I happen to serve on their executive committee. Guys, I tell you what, if you're new to the community especially and you've never been to the Fantasy of Lights at Midwestern State University, you need to go see this. You need to go park, get out of your car, walk through it, see it all. You can see all the exhibits and really take them in an hour roughly, the whole thing. And it's just fascinating, and the story behind it, and I won't bore you with the whole story, but the story behind it.
Just watch shows. We talked about it several times.
The story behind it is truly fascinating. But some of these exhibits have been around for 80+ years.
Yeah, and it's fun for all ages.
It is.
I mean, if you just get out, walk the thing.
Yes.
You'll get to see, and just walk with your family. Go take a nice stroll out there. It's beautiful. It's well lit out there. There's great parking. It's a great place to get.
Yep, and make a donation because all of this, Midwestern State University pays for none of this. All of this is the maintenance, the upkeep, the storage, the actual function of it. The electricity is metered. The committee that I serve on, we raise money and we pay for 100% of this. MSU pays nothing. All they're doing is providing the space for it to happen. That's it. They provide the lawn. That's all. But we pay for the rest of it. So your donation,
which the committee is very thankful for.
Oh, very much. Yes.
But what Mike, the point behind that is it's not minimizing what Midwestern State does. It's just simply saying that when they're out there collecting money, it's not they're not making the university rich or whatever else. All they're doing is trying to maintain.
Because they're a public university.
I say that because there's a misconception that MSU pays for all of this, and they don't.
Yeah,
it's not public money.
We pay for it. It's not paid. It's private dollars paying for it. Sponsorships and private donations that pay for it.
So cut a fat check or go stick some cash in the boot.
Yeah, please do. And again, we do. We really appreciate Midwestern State University. They've been a part of this. Now, this is for 51 years they've been involved.
By the way,
in this.
do you take cards at the donation thing, or is it just?
There's QR codes that you can scan with your phone as you're walking around.
Okay.
You can donate on a card that way, or you can go to the website. It's I think it's FOWL.MSW. Anyway, look it up. Fantasy of Lights, Midwestern State University. Google it, you'll find it, because I'm going to tell you wrong, and you're going to end up on some site where someone's head is shaved or something. I don't know. Anyway, but you can make donations by card online.
Good.
Through the QR code.
I was just
directly
making sure that Mike wasn't out there swiping because I didn't know where he was going to keep that card reader.
Nowhere we want to talk about. All right. But anyway, it's a great exhibit. You'll love it.
You shove the card in Mike's mouth and pull it out fast.
Yep. Fantasy a lot. Yeah. FOL. That first link you do it, and then you can go right here, make a donation. Boom. It's easy.
Exactly.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see. Do we want to move on here with our local restaurant focus?
Yeah, let's do that.
So each show we focus on a locally owned, usually family owned restaurant. This week, we're going to be talking about, I think, probably the oldest existing restaurant in the city. I'm 99.
Prine's, maybe?
Prine's
they're
might
probably real close. It's the oldest existing restaurant in the city.
And all you have to say around here is, I want to go get some red tacos.
Red tacos.
And then everybody knows.
Yep.
Casa Mañana. Larry and Vicky Carr own it. The Carr family has owned Casa Mañana. The original Casa Mañana, as most people refer to it. They've owned it since, I think it was founded in 46 or 47, something like that. So Prine's might be a little bit older.
Yeah, Prine's is from the 20s.
Okay. So Prine's is older. But as far as Mexican restaurants, this is the oldest one in town. 1947, it was founded. Larry Carr's dad founded the restaurant. And I don't think the recipes have changed.
I'm not sure. I'm sure they're not. The food's great. They're chips and queso. They make their own chips.
Yes.
You go buy a bag of chips and whatever queso. Yeah, their chips and queso are legendary.
They are
the red
legendary.
tacos are absolutely.
I think they make their salsa in house. and the red tacos. Everything's done fresh right there.
It's good.
pretty
And
incredible.
hot. Comes up, man. It's hot.
Yeah.
Hot
yeah.
plate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what you want.
That's right.
Have you ever gone into a Mexican restaurant and not been warned about how hot the damn plate is?
Yeah.
Everywhere
Be
you go,
careful.
careful. This plate's very hot.
They put
no
so many,
kidding.
They put so much stuff in the salamander because a lot of it they melt that cheese at the very end, and that's why the plates are generally hot because they've been in the salamander.
Yeah. So anyway, Casa Manana, downtown on 8th Street. And there, I can't tell you the
Across from
street
the Holt,
number.
right?
Well, it's between it's between
Iron Horse.
Indiana and Scott.
Well, what's
It's on
Iron Horse Pub. I can't talk today.
Yeah, the Iron Horse Pub's on one side, and
they're next door.
the old Zales building or D4's is on the other.
Right.
They're right next door.
Well, what's the apartment?
The Holt.
That's the Holt.
Is that the
Holt
Holt?
Hotel.
What's
They're
the
across
other?
the street.
To be the Holt Hotel.
Yeah.
It's the Holt Apartments. Yeah, it's
Okay.
right across the
Gotcha.
street from the Holt
Okay.
Apartments.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we're going to talk with Mike Mitchell about revitalization. One of the first downtown revitalization projects that was really done in earnest, I think, was the Holt.
Right.
Yeah.
And
People living down there.
I took a tour in that building. I was taken on a tour with a group of people, a committee I was on at the time, and before they ever started working on it. And I mean, you walked in that place and you felt like you needed a tetanus shot
Oh
when
yeah,
you left.
it was bad.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was really bad. And to see the transformation of that building from an old abandoned hotel that sat there decaying for decades turned into a completely renovated, completely converted apartment complex.
and I think they're kind of like luxury
and
apartments.
is there
They
still a
are.
waiting list?
Yeah, there's always a
Well,
waiting
because
list.
you have that one, and then right down the street is the Barron's Crossing or whatever, Barron's Landing.
Barron's Landing.
Yeah, it's a luxury
Yeah.
apartment as well.
Well, and the old Mascat Shrine building
Yep,
downtown
the
has now
Mascot
been
Shrine.
turned into apartments.
and then also the Austin Elementary and Alamo Elementary apartments as well.
So so great, but Holt
That's happening.
Holt
Or has
did it.
been.
The Holt they did it first, and I'm telling you that you had to see it before to really truly appreciate the depth of the after.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Well, anyhow, Casa Manana, downtown, the
Casa
original
Manana,
Casa
yes.
Manana,
A Street.
red tacos. If you've never had a red taco, they're mind-blowingly good.
Yep.
The food's great.
Yep.
And also try their chips and queso. Like I said, they make their own chips. They're
Yep.
real thick, and they hold queso real well and all that.
Tell them we sent you. They're not going to give you a discount on anything.
No,
No.
just tell them.
In fact, they're going to look at you and go, "Who?"
Who? Yeah.
Anyway,
Although they do give a military discount. Just FYI.
tip your waitress.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
So Mike Mitchell's coming up. We're going to interview him here in a moment. I want to jump into something here real quick. Joe Biden, back in June, I believe it was,
Oh yeah.
had said he was not going to pardon his son.
Did Joe Biden pardon his son? Shocking.
He pardoned his son.
Oh shit.
A federal
He pardoned
judge
his
has
son.
already dismissed, I believe, the gun case that was pending against him for the illegal possession of a handgun. That's already been dismissed now. He did, and even liberals, even leftists, even people in the most leftist reaches of the media out there in the evil empire, even they're going, whoa.
Well, look.
Hold on,
first off,
Joe.
I called this. I knew that this was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But not only because it's his son, and quite frankly, I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to say I wouldn't have done the same thing.
Yeah, it's gonna-
True.
Number one. Number two, Joe Biden's also pardoning himself. With this.
Yes.
Oh, you don't think if that all that Burisma stuff started going through? That's why if he pardoned Hunter Biden a decade back.
then the information won't come out.
That's right. It can't come out. So that's going to be there. And then also, and somebody finally picked up on this. This is, if you remember, I told you guys because we had a whole talk about this, and I said his words were, "I will abide by the jury's word or whatever decision. To abide by the jury's decision." There never was a jury.
Oh, it's a judge.
So,
he went
yeah,
to the the judge. Okay.
So therefore,
He didn't
he
lie.
he was hedging his bet on that
But
side.
if you
But
read
he did
the-
say he didn't pardon.
Right. If you read the press release, though, it was, hey, I was going to stay out of this, but, it was unfair. And as I'm reading this, I'm going, Trump. Everything that Trump has gone through is exactly what he's claiming happened.
The Trump Justice Department's going to come after his baby boy is what he kept saying.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that Trump has been run through the gauntlet and the ringer and everything.
Well, guys, let me tell you something. So. Okay, the left learned absolutely nothing from Joe Biden in the 1980s.
Right.
In the 1988 presidential, the Democratic nomination process, Joe Biden was forced to walk away because he got caught lying, plagiarizing, just outright making crap up.
Not only that, it was not only, if you guys remember, it was a joke. Like every comedian in America was talking about Joe Biden, and he pulled a Joe Biden. I mean, and they were talking about plagiarism. Yeah. It was that well known and rampant.
Yeah, you fast forward and look what they did to Gary Hart. Gary Hart got caught having an affair. His own party threw him under the bus, and then they backed the bus up and ran over him again to make sure he was really gone. Yeah. And so you look at what they've done. Now you fast forward, 30-odd years later, and Joe Biden gets elected president of the United States, and we're shocked. People are shocked that he lied.
Yeah.
Come on, the guy's got a lengthy history of being not only not an intelligent man, but being a damn liar, too.
And also just checking the wind.
Exactly.
Well, but now to be fair, though, we're kind of in a different world. Look, as time has gone on, we went from Joe Biden and Gary Hart, and I mean, just any little thing could just derail your campaign or whatever. And then Bill Clinton was in for 8 years, and he got away with. And it's like they impeached him and he didn't get it.
Bill Clinton got away with, if you boil this down to its essence, and if you were in corporate America, you would be terminated. Bill Clinton got away with taking an underling, somebody was an underling when it comes to, I don't mean she was below him, but she was below him on the power structure.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the top. So.
Someone he had a lot of power over.
And at work, on the clock, committed adultery.
Yep.
I don't know if that a CEO of a company
he wouldn't have survived that.
Would
even today
survive it. Yeah. No, well, especially today.
Yeah.
But I think that's where they jumped the shark. That's where the Democrats jumped the shark with Bill Clinton, because, like you said, they got rid of Gary Hart, they got rid of Joe Biden, and that was the Democrats that did that. It wasn't Republicans. This was all during the Democrat nomination process. But once Clinton came in, it seemed like all of a sudden that's when the Democrat Party started to change and they started accepting a lot more of this crap. Well, and it was like, because he's good. He's good for us. Right. He's good for us to win. So therefore, we'll put up with it.
But then what I'm saying, where I'm getting at to being fair is that guess what? Trump is not a squeaky clean dude.
Never was.
And so, but at the same time, I think what's happened is that we're now at a point where unconventional thinking, and I think on our side is that for the most part, none of us, I don't think the three of us, right? None of us were initially a Trump fan at all.
And I've been very clear, especially this time. I didn't want Trump to run again.
Right.
Very clear, crystal clear.
He is, and I think that I think he has resonated well enough with enough people, obviously that are voters, and it's like, hey, we got to have that unconventional thinking.
Well, when he ran in 2016, I didn't take him seriously initially. I thought when he said he was going to run, I didn't know whether to take him seriously or not, to be honest with you, because of his history as not just a businessman, but also as an entertainment mogul.
Exactly, a promoter. He was a huge promoter.
Is this just Donald Trump being Donald Trump and just Donald Trump trying to promote Donald Trump?
Is he trying to go promote his next WrestleMania?
But do you think it might have started that way, but then he realized, oh my gosh.
I think
he was serious from the very beginning.
Well, you look back, he has some interviews.
He's
talked about it before. But a lot of people say, and Trump, I think, has alluded to this or said it outright, that White House, was it the press
pool?
The press thing that they had where Barack Obama basically sat there and trashed Trump?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
The press dinner? I forgot what it's called, the National Press Dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
And Trump was there just as a guest, and Barack Obama stood up there and talked about, you wanted to be president. And a lot of it was Barack Obama did have some sour grapes. And I don't blame Barack Obama for having sour grapes, because Trump was the one who was pushing hard for the birth certificate thing and all that for Barack Obama. So I don't blame Barack Obama for throwing some bombs at him and going, hey, F you. you made my life uncomfortable. Now I'm going to make your life uncomfortable. But there's a lot of people that say that was the turning point for Trump when he goes, you know what? Screw this guy. Screw everybody. I'm going to do this.
Okay. Well, anyway, so it's just interesting.
Turned out to be a really good first president. First-term president. I believe he was a really good first-term president policy-wise and everything. I just didn't like all the antics and all the other BS. Therefore, I didn't want him to run again. But once he decided to run, hey, he's in.
I think a lot of lessons hopefully have been learned from the first term.
You're already seeing it. We're already seeing it.
And I think the second term is going to be a different story.
Well,
in those respects.
He knew in the first term, this guy didn't know. He knew a lot of players, but he didn't know Washington.
Right.
And didn't know what it was about in the machine that Washington is. And then he hired these people that he's like going, okay, well, you've been around, you know this. But they turned out, a lot of them turned out to be part of the machine.
Yeah.
Whereas now you have the Trump people who have been around him. They've seen the Washington machine. They go, well, we don't like this, this, and this. Now we're going to get people in from all over, and we're going to create this pirate ship there. We'll see what happens.
The two people that are a part of this that I'm really going to want to keep a close eye on, one is Tulsi Gabbard. I want to see how she performs, and Kristi Noem, currently the governor of South Dakota. I want to see how she does, because I think one of those two could be elevated to a vice presidential role.
Totally agree.
In the future, I think
one and eventually president.
And eventually president. I got a feeling that one of the two is going to end up being in that position.
Of all the people that are
depending
out
on
there,
how this goes,
all the people that are out there in the pool on either side of the aisle, Gretchen Whitmer, I would say, is probably about that same level with them, where it looks like there's a possibility that she could become a president or could become a presidential nominee as well. But I totally agree with you.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, Mike Mitchell is going to join us. We got a lot of things to talk about concerning Wichita Falls revitalization. We'll talk with Mike coming up here next on Get It Right Texoma. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to Get It Right Texoma. As promised, we have a special guest in the studio with us. Mike Mitchell is with us here. Mike, how you doing?
Man, I'm fantastic. Just happy to be here.
Glad to have you. So, Mike, just full disclosure here, Victory Home Loans is a company you work for.
Yes, sir.
That's kind of our association in a way. Me being in real estate and you being in the lending business, and
absolutely,
so we do talk frequently in that vein. But the reason you're here today with us is to talk about city revitalization.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm
City of Wichita Falls.
City of Wichita Falls, yeah. Specifically, so I am the chair for the Wichita Falls.
Not City View or Archer City.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. We'll help them all out, I'm sure. But no, this is specifically City of Wichita Falls City Revitalization Committee, and the area is called the Heart of the Falls.
Heart of the Falls, I like that.
Yeah.
Well, we talk a lot on this podcast about the city and some of the things that are coming back and trying to come back. We've talked a lot about downtown and all the stuff that's happening, and I'm sure that's a big focus of your group is kind of what's happening downtown. I'm sure that comes up at least, does it not?
So actually no. So we're very specific to an area. So I mean, for those of y'all out there that are from Wichita Falls, it's basically Seymour Highway to Kell, Brook to Kemp. So basically all that area around Old High.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And so that's it's the most densely populated area of Wichita Falls.
It is.
And
the avenues, basically, a lot of it's in the avenues.
A lot of it's the avenues, stuff like that. It's about 60% rental property, lots of derelict or delinquent homes, but it's a great place. And to be clear, we want to do revitalization, not gentrification. Gentrification is basically where they come in, they fix it up so much that's where all the people with lots of money want to come in and they push everybody out. We want this to be a great area for first-time home buyers. Maybe people that are on the lower income that can't afford the bigger, nicer houses, but they also can't afford a project.
Well, and I will say this. I think a lot of people would make the argument that that's wonderful, but how do you fix some of the more egregious issues in that area that have developed over the years? Obviously, you've got, crime issues to deal with. You've got, you said, derelict structures. You've got, unfortunately, like I said, 60% rentals. And a lot of those properties have fallen into some serious disrepair over the years. You can drive by them and see if they have. How do you fix all of this? Obviously, you got to throw some money at it, but where does the money come from? If not investors, where does it come from?
Absolutely. So, and that is a great question. So, first and foremost, we did a lot of people surveying the neighborhood,
Yes.
folks. Safety is the biggest issue.
Yes.
Obviously, there is a misconception that this is the extremely high crime area, and it's not.
No, it's not.
Realistically, everywhere around town, the crime is really pretty close
Yeah.
statistically.
But that perception exists.
That perception
And it's
exists.
something you have to
Absolutely.
at one time there were some gang there
There
was
was,
gang
the
activity
gang
there,
injunction zone
which that's that is going. A lot of it basically is working poor.
Yeah,
A lot
absolutely.
of it is people that do work, that have jobs, but they're lower income workers.
So first and foremost was a safety. When you look at the crime statistics for the area, a lot of it's theft or burglary, and it's all small stuff. Somebody breaks into your car, which sucks. Don't get me wrong, but it's nothing like they're coming in and stealing gold bars and stuff. It's not $1 million thefts. It's all small stuff, petty crime. So a lot of it has to do with homelessness in the area. But they found, and research shows, that you can cut down crime. Most of the crime happens at night under the cover of darkness, right? In this area, a lot of people don't have front porch lights. Front porch lights can cut like burglary, home burglary or burglary of a car by like 70% by just having porch lights because lit up. They don't want to be lit up. And so that's one of the programs we're looking at is to help people, either repair, fix their electrical, whatever, to come in and put porch lights in. It's a simple fix.
I got a question on that.
Okay.
A Ring has a program now, aside from privacy and some other things that are going on with Amazon. But I know you're a Ring fan.
Yep, I am a Ring fan.
They had there was a program, and I don't know if Wichita Falls. I think it was subsidized by a local police department, and basically they subsidized like doorbell cameras and things like that in order to reduce crime in a particular neighborhood, because if you've got a number of people have the Ring doorbells in a particular neighborhood, then there's kind of some continuity along, of what you saw the person here and here and here and all that. I don't know how that works. I imagine
you know what,
be a
now that
budget.
you bring that up, I remember seeing that, and we ought to look into that.
Well, you think about it, creates a little bit of a dragnet. You've got all these cameras from
does.
different angles that are photographing, whatever happened or taking video of whatever happened, and through compiling that information, perhaps the police can track down who did it.
But part of it is you want to prevent it in the first place.
Yeah,
And I think
right.
that's one of the first things.
Prevention
is really the
cameras
first.
are great, but
it's
if somebody steals from you and you caught them,
But it's a deterrent effect as well. It's a certain
It
point.
is if you get it lit up first.
Right.
I think lighting it up is the first.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Because it's not the stealth mode. The other thing that is available out there, that solar powered lights have become
Yes.
very good. There are some good solar power. My mother has a couple in her backyard that are solar powered just because we didn't have power out to where she had
Absolutely.
her
Yeah, we've got some
dealer.
out at my folks' place.
And they work great. So that's another option, lower cost option. Because I imagine that some of those houses, the electrical system is probably suspect.
Aged, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
another big thing that we're working on is what we're calling a neighborhood empowerment zone, a NEZ. And so the NEZ focuses a lot around code and code enforcement. Now, Texas obviously is a big property rights state, and rightly so. Pretty much, for the most part, you can kind of do just about whatever you want to on your property, within reason. But
You can have a tiger, by the way, in Texas.
yeah, but you can't have a wallaby. That's
right.
actually in Wichita Falls. You can't have a wallaby. That's
You can have
that's
a
a
tiger.
thing. That was part of the city council discussions not too
Well,
long ago.
There goes
But,
my plans.
But so code, and y'all may not know this, we didn't actually have set like property code up until the mid '80s in Wichita Falls. It was just kind of the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
They'd kind of tried to do that, and then the city just kind of boomed, and it went. And then by the time it was there, it was like, we kind of missed our opportunity.
And no zoning, yeah.
Yeah, so there wasn't a whole lot of zoning, and so what the NEZ does, now that we do have zoning, one good, for instance, is setbacks. So in Wichita Falls, you got to be set back from the property line 25 feet, and then if you're on a corner
Oh,
lot,
I thought
there's
you
all
meant,
those-
I thought when you lost your job or something, you had a setback. I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, that's a short, small setback too. But a lot of these lots in this area are not your typical 10,000 square foot lots.
Right.
Most of them are 7,500 or even 5,000 square foot lots. Right. Well, the problem is you start implementing these setbacks. I mean, if a house burns down or something like that, you literally cannot rebuild.
Right.
And so we're looking at some of that to be able to say, okay, basically we're going to not exclude, that's a terrible word, but basically have some exceptions in this area because of how things were built.
Well, you're grandfathered in. I mean, if your lot is grandfathered in or something along
Yeah,
those
kind
lines.
of. But I mean, you got to remember if a house is burns down, that burning down is really probably the biggest issue. And so, if a house burns down, it's hard to come back in and rebuild something of similar size because of current code.
Right.
And so, especially on corner lots. I mean, if you're on a corner lot, you're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
So, and then the other big issue is what we call ADUs or accessory units. So the mother-in-law suites or the rear garage with garage apartments. And so that's actually the process we're working through right now is code and zoning to kind of redefine some of those for our area to make it worthwhile. Obviously, we don't want a barn dominium coming in there. Not that we're against barn dominiums, but it doesn't fit with the neighborhood.
Right.
Right. I mean, we've got a lot of the 1940s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Cookie cutter, houses.
Most of them
gingerbread
are,
houses.
what about 1,100 square foot, 1,000 square foot?
Yeah, 11 to 1,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty decent size.
Yeah, 1,500 square foot home in that era was a large home.
Yeah, it was
That
a lot of house
That was a
back in
lot
the
of
day.
house. Yeah. You mentioned the lighting, and I thought of something. So, I think it's still this way. In Texas, there are only two cities that manage their own street lighting systems: Wichita Falls and Victoria.
I did not know that.
I believe that's still the case. Everyone else, like I live in Burt Burnett. Well, Burt Burnett doesn't manage its own street lights. Encore does. So if we have a street light issue, we call Encore. We don't call the city of Burt Burnett. And I think it's still that way across the state. So Wichita Falls and Victoria, Texas, two totally opposite ends of the
Terry,
state.
what about the street lights at your house?
I pay for that.
Yeah.
And I go through JAC.
Yeah. So at a in a situation like in this neighborhood, street lighting obviously could go a long way toward helping as a crime deterrent itself. What's the feedback, or has there been any feedback from the city on improving or increasing the amount of street lighting in those areas? Because I know some of those streets get pretty dark at night.
They can,
they're
and so
there's no lighting.
So that's kind of a little bit addressed by money, obviously. So
Sure, of course.
City revitalization is not a magic wand.
Oh, no, no.
It's not the silver bullet that's gonna take care of everything overnight. But there's
Nothing happens overnight.
right, especially with government. But I mean,
Yeah.
there's lots of things that we're trying to address and make a plan. I mean,
Right.
lighting is obviously one of them. Road conditions. I mean,
Sure.
there hasn't been a whole lot of improvement, especially in that area for a long time. Interestingly enough, in the 1920s, they had a great plan for underground stormwater drainage. They had a plan. It was a great plan. They never implemented it. They went, well, we're growing so damn fast. We gotta, we got to do something. So we're just going to do surface level and let the streets handle it. Well, obviously, I mean, things have changed, climate change or whatever else. I mean, seems like the rains we get here are a whole lot more intense, right now, and we're not getting the soft rains, over longer periods of time. So our streets are flooding a whole lot more. You get that street flooding that's causing problems with the streets. And so, but I will tell you about as far as money, that's something that we're going to be working on is getting that stuff built into the city budget, which is tough. I mean,
Everybody wants a piece.
Yeah, even on your own small personal budget, it's tough to get stuff worked in there. And so, but that's something that we're working on. The city, when I say the city, I'm talking about the folks we're working with, which is mostly Fabian and Terry at Planning and Zoning, Crystal. But we've heard from all departments. Code enforcement, I had kind of a love-hate relationship with code enforcement. I thought they were pretty much out there to ruin our lives. But after hearing, and speaking to these guys and really hearing their purpose, man, what a thankless job. It's kind of like being on the school board. Do we know anybody like that?
Nah, never heard of that one.
But, it's a very thankless job.
That's a glorious. You didn't realize that school board brings you fame and fortune.
Yeah, that's how you retired, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But, it's a very thankless job, but they're really there to keep us safe, to make sure things are right. And also, they don't want to go out and find people. They really do a good job, legally by the bylaws, they're able to just come in and fine you. But they do work very hard to give notices on violations, and they want to work with the people. And if it's a money issue, they help point them in the right direction to, like tree trimming or something, But one of the coolest things that we've got going on is we just did of all things, an EPA grant. I say we weren't really that involved with it because, man, a federal grant is just a whole animal in and of itself. But Fabian and Crystal and the whole team down there just really stepped up. It's about a $23 million grant that we applied to through the EPA. And so I would say the biggest portion of it that I'm excited about is I thought we were supposed to turn those off.
Nah.
Okay. Well, I guess you're on the show all the time.
Don't have any rules on that.
Do we need to answer it?
No.
Okay. All right. No, I don't mind.
No, we're good.
But the biggest chunk of the grant is rehabbing homes. And so the intent is there are so many derelict and delinquent homes over there. It obviously causes a problem with the homeless. That's why there's lots of fire there because they get in, they're cold. They don't have a lot of places to go here in Wichita Falls, so
we literally tore, just real quickly, when I was on the school board, we had a church that was that church that used to be across the street from Old High. We actually took that down because of that reason.
Yep.
It was a safety issue. A lot of homeless people, and then you had a church with homeless people in it, literally, or building, because it was no longer a church, with homeless people right there where your students are.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
why we demolished that building.
It's a problem. But so we want to be able to go in. There's lots of people that are out of state that own houses there that, they don't do fixing up. They're vacant. And so we as the city, because I am an official member, of this committee and the chair. And so we want to go in and identify 25 to 40 of these properties and do full rehabs on them. And, of course, a lot of folks have said, well, what does that have to do with EPA? Well, we're going to make them efficient, So, things like insulation and lighting, electrical and all this stuff, really make them good, efficient homes and fix them up to make them nice again. But the other issue is lots of first-time home buyers, again, they don't have money for fixer-uppers. They don't have money for a lot of repairs. They need a good home to live in. And so really, if you buy a new home, really you shouldn't have to do a whole lot of repairs in the first 10 to 15 years.
Well, and you can attest to this, being on the lending side of that issue. A lot of times, a first-time home buyer, it's going to be an FHA situation. Or
Absolutely.
It might be a VA situation. And there are rules as to safety conditions and things. And then a lot of these houses wouldn't qualify
Yeah, not right now, currently.
for
no.
an FHA loan. Or
So you're going to get them up to spec where they would
get 'em up
qualify
to
for
spec,
a
where they're good,
FHA
solid.
or a VA loan.
And here's the caveat, because the city doesn't want to be they don't want to be landlords, which is part of the deal, like with the lake lots and stuff. They don't want to be renting stuff out anymore. They don't want to be owners. We get it. We shouldn't want the city to be owners.
No.
And so the idea is, and we're not looking to make money off of this. That's not the purpose of the grant, right?
Right, of course.
And so these homes, if we get the grant, the intent is that the homes would be turned over to Habitat for Humanity, which is a community partner on the grant, because they have more qualified people for homes like that.
They know how to
than
do
they have
stuff like
homes.
that.
Plus they have the infrastructure of doing
Yeah,
it.
they've
and
already
know
got the
how to do
process
it.
down.
Right.
Well, they've got the experience.
Exactly.
They've done this. They've built homes literally from the ground up for so long.
And quite a few in Wichita Falls. There's a lot of Habitat.
Absolutely. And they do
Yeah.
a great job. I'm telling you, Habitat for Humanity, and I've been a big fan of what they do for a long time. Just wonderful organization. But in this case, they've got the whole process. They've got all that. It's not the big bad city either approving or denying people. If we had 40 houses done today, they'd have people to fill them.
I volunteered on a couple of their builds years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
And they already have great working partnerships with contractors and people that specialize in exactly what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Their specialty is rehabs, rebuilds, new construction, all of it. And so that's a great partnership to have. It's going to be a very strong partnership.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
So when do you find out about this grant?
So we're supposed to find out in like a 30-day time frame. And so November, I think they said they turned it in right before Thanksgiving. And so, and remember, it's a federal grant, so it was like 800 pages of stuff. Like it was a lot. Hundreds of man hours went into this.
Yeah. Eyeballs deep in paperwork.
Yeah, and I can't dote on the city staff enough. There are lots of people. Part of the reason that I got involved with this was because I was tired of being. There's a lot of people that complain about the big bad city or the county or whatever, but they never get involved.
Nope.
And so I, Teddy Roosevelt was one of the ones. He said something along the lines of, complaining without griping or complaining without a solution is just griping or something along those lines. I love Teddy Roosevelt, but and so I wanted to be part of the solution. And so
loved him so much you could quote him exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That was verbatim, something along those lines. But no, I wanted to get involved. Got elected as chair for this. I've started going to city council meetings, so I've made every one just about for the last 3 months, and I just can't. Even code enforcement or planning and zoning. If you have questions or thoughts or whatever, go talk to these people. That's their job. They are the professionals locally, and they're great people. They're really not here to ruin your life. Fabian has been wonderful to work with, and he's one of those guys that, if a new business or somebody's wanting to, what have we all heard about new businesses coming to town?
Oh yeah, they complain.
The city is
not business friendly.
They're not business friendly. They're so hard to work with.
Yeah, there's something rooted in that too. I was going to say, the communication needs to
agree 100%. But I will tell you, Fabian is one of those. Part of the issue is like in this particular neighborhood, zoning is a problem.
Yes,
business, it's tough for them to come in because of parking zoning rules. Well, there's no possible, like I own a building over there that I'm about to sell, so if y'all know anybody, but it literally only has 2 parking spots. Well, based on current zoning, it should have like 9 parking spots. Right. There's nowhere for me to put 9 parking spots.
But there's also a variance. That's why there's a variance too, that you work with the city and hopefully apply and justify a variance and that's where I think a committee like yourself, or the one you're on, is that you can, if you've got some communication going on among all the players, then maybe there can be a creative solution that involves a variance of certain things, and then maybe there's other things you can do.
Absolutely.
So, what it comes down to, I think, common sense has got to take hold.
You hope.
You've got to have some common sense approaches and some common sense solutions to issues like this. And I think where Wichita Falls benefits is I think we now are. It's starting to congeal. We're putting together a city council and leadership in city government that's truly interested in seeing things like this move forward and seeing the city move forward and seeing us do things that will help us grow our population. And because the more of those homes you can rehab and the more of those homes that can be fixed up and turned into livable, financeable structures, then you can start to bring new people into the community. Hopefully,
and when you're bringing first time home buyers in, a lot of times you're bringing in younger people who are going to have roots here, have families, kids are going to school there.
Property values, which taxes go up and all that. So it's a great thing. And you're right on city council. So I was actually highly encouraged, and I really explored it this year. And I think I even talked to Trey about it a little bit. I seriously considered running for city council place 2. Looked into it, talked to a lot of folks about it. Everybody really encouraged me, Mike, you're the right guy. You'd be great to be on city council. I ended up deciding not to do it just because of timing, really, for me and my life personally. Trying to build up the business with, Victory Home Loans. I've still got lots of things I'm doing, the City Revitalization Committee. I've got 2 daughters in high school, a son in junior high. And so things weren't right for me. Right. However, another guy was kind of recruited to run, and there was another lady that ran too. Both of them would have been excellent. Mm-hmm. But Robert Brooks ended up getting the vote. He is the father of Talia Brooks.
Talia, we talked about that
Olympian, one. Super nice guy. I think he's going to do great things. But we also got Whitney Flack who replaced Michael Smith in District 1. And now we have the runoff going between Austin Cobb and Sam Pack, who are both. I'm sure you guys all know both of them.
Oh, we've interviewed. We had on the show.
And then they did a rock, paper, scissors. And
did they?
Yeah,
look
on the video. Yeah, check it out. Check it out on our YouTube page.
I'll do that.
Yeah, they said right here, Terry officiated rock, paper, scissors. And I've told both those guys, either one of those guys will be great city councilors.
Oh my gosh, amazing!
And I've made a prediction. My prediction is both of those men will serve on city council at some point.
Oh, eventually, yeah.
Whether one of them's going to be on now, one of them may be on the next cycle. It may be 5 years from now or 10 years from whatever it is. I predict that Austin Cobb and Sam Pack will both be city councilors in Wichita Falls.
Yeah, and it's crazy too the rumors and stuff that fly around Austin's not from here and all that. That's not true. He grew up here. You talk to the guy; he's an amazing guy. And then there's I've actually had people tell me, well, Sam Pack, like he's not really involved in the community. Oh my God, have you followed him on Facebook?
We're not
I've
following
known Sam very well. For
show up at anything.
Yeah, show up at any sort of fundraising, any nonprofit, anything.
Yeah.
Sam and his wife Pam are there. Like, I don't know how they do it. I guess they must sleep for about 30 minutes during the day, and the rest of the time they're. But
when you don't have kids at home, it does.
Well, that's
help
true.
you some.
That's true. But really, I mean, and you're right. Austin and Sam, I mean, no matter who wins, are going to be absolutely amazing.
They're going to be good.
And then Michael Battolino on the council. Like, I just, we have good people.
I think the formula is coming together to have working relationships within city government that can work with people outside of city government, like yourself, who are serving on a committee here, to get these things done.
Yep,
That's the best.
Absolutely.
Is it communication?
The communication.
I just recruited some friends to. There's an aviation. I forget the name of the board, but it's aviation something board. This board hasn't met, and don't quote me on the numbers. It was either like 2012 or 2016. They haven't met. Yeah, write this down. They haven't. But anyway, regardless, they haven't met in a long time. And so I was talking to one of my buddies about it, and he was like, "We really need to protect Kickapoo a little more." And of course, as city revitalization, I'm not over Kickapoo. That's nothing that has to do with what I'm doing, but obviously it's a vital part of the community. Well, this board has met and done a lot of stuff for Shepherd Municipal, which we all agree. I mean, if Shepherd leaves, is Wichita Falls sunk?
No,
it's
sink,
debatable, but
it'll still exist.
We love Shepherd.
I mean,
we need
Burt
them
Burnett
here.
doesn't have Shepherd, but it would be really bad for us.
Yeah, it would
There's
be
no doubt
bad.
about it.
So we want to do everything we can do to protect it. And what they've done is they did a lot of zoning and code and everything else around Shepherd Municipal. And then they kind of said, well, and we're going to add this height restriction on Kickapoo. And that's about it. And so, there's been some developments and stuff around Kickapoo that, could the federal grants and stuff that we could get kicked out. And so it appeared, I don't want to say there was nobody watching that, but it appeared that nobody was kind of keeping a pulse on that. And another friend of mine saw that and said, hey, we need to be watching this. And so then they said, well, we don't even know who's on the board. Oh, we can look that up. Well, we don't know when they roll off. Well, we can look that up. And it turned out like that day, I was like, well, if you're interested, you need to put your application in today. And so, you're right. There's some forward-thinking people. It's not just the old guard. There's nothing bad with the old guard. But if we want to see Wichita Falls grow, I mean, we are one of the cities in Texas as a whole that really didn't grow in the last census.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
it's one of the few.
And compared to Abilene, since the 90s, they have grown a significant amount. We have been flat.
Yeah.
And why?
Flat since 1960.
Well, and we've talked about this with some other folks on the show. Is that problem, and part of that problem comes down to also a marketing issue.
Absolutely.
We've done a horrible job as a community marketing ourselves.
Yep.
Our city, it's when you're in city government, salesmanship sometimes is not in your wheelhouse. So you need to couple yourself with people who it is in their wheelhouse, who do know how to market, who do know how to sell, who do know how to promote. And I think that they've got to do that. But we've done a lousy job of promoting our community. We've done a lousy job of promoting the relationship between the city and, for example, Midwestern State University.
Oh, yeah.
It drives me nuts that someone can drive through this city, go from north to south or south to north, and not one time ever know that there's a 6,500 student body university in this city.
And an amazing university, too. Part of the Texas Tech system now.
Yes.
I mean, what an amazing place.
And you can drive completely through this town and never realize it's there.
We could also not know that Shepherd Air Force is based here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we
Got a whole
don't
thing on that, but-
we don't do a good job of promoting ourselves, and we've got to do a better job of doing that. And I say we, no, I don't live here anymore. I don't pay taxes in the city of Wichita Falls anymore.
Yeah, but
I
you're
do
close.
work here.
You're Wichita Falls adjacent.
I'm from here. Well, but this it brings me to
Burke,
this.
it's in the Wichita Falls metro.
Yes, and it brings me to this point. All of us, Burke, Burnett, Iowa Park, Electra, Holiday, Archer City, Henrietta, all the surrounding, what some people might call bedroom communities, Godebo.
Yeah, don't forget about that.
Damn Godebo, man. Go Godebo.
Pumpkin Center.
Pumpkin got like 9 people. But it's to the benefit of all of those bedroom communities for Wichita Falls to do well.
Yeah, to be
we
successful.
all should want to see Wichita Falls, because if Wichita Falls is succeeding, everyone else is
Tide raises
succeeding.
all boats. There's a reason. There's a reason
Exactly.
that
Well,
is there.
and you're so right,
Exactly.
Mike. I mean, people that live here, the majority of people, not everybody, but the majority of people that live here love it here.
Yes.
And they are so proud of our town. They've really
And
got
come
that
back.
sense of
There's
community.
a lot of people who grow up
come
here
back,
and
you're
come
right.
back. Like Austin.
got
Lost, you are
yeah.
absolutely correct.
Yeah.
We love it, and we tell each other all the
people
time.
like Terry, who's not from here,
Right.
but came here because
Yeah,
the Air
came
Force
back,
has
yeah.
stayed.
And stayed, yeah.
So real quickly, so we kind of need to wrap up a little bit. So let everybody know, how do they get a hold of you,
Yeah.
or if they want to be involved in this committee, or have ideas or thoughts or any of that sort of thing.
So that's great. Look up Wichita Falls City Revitalization. We do have a Facebook group page. We do post on there. We do have official meetings, minutes, the whole shooting match. I mean, just like City Council does. We are an official board or committee under the City Council.
Yeah, you have to follow the guidelines. You probably have to post the post the agenda. It has to be on the agenda to be spoken
We
about.
do,
that
and
sort of
I have
thing,
to
yeah.
sign minutes, and I had to swear in the whole
Yeah,
bit. And
yeah.
so we meet every other Tuesday. So we actually just met this Tuesday. We're going to meet again on the 17th. We're meeting at 4 o'clock on Tuesday down at the Wichita Falls Travel Center, which I know you've seen it. If y'all haven't been by there, again, that's another great facility. Hardly anybody knows about.
It's the bus station.
The bus station.
Yeah,
It's
downtown.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and there's a
But,
huge, nice meeting conference room in there, and all kinds of stuff.
And the public, and I'll kind of end, I'll wrap up my part with this, that, the public, we want the public to be involved, especially the folks that live in the heart of the Falls area. Mm-hmm. However, all the groundwork and the foundation that we're laying, I think they've got, it's either 7 or 9 areas of town that they intend to take this to over the next, decade or so. Mm-hmm. So we're laying all the groundwork on how to create this. I mean, neighborhood empowerment zone, we haven't done that here ever, but Fort Worth and Abilene and other towns have. And so we're creating that structure. The next neighborhood that's, in the pike is Eastside. Mm-hmm. And they have some unique, obviously, flooding issues and things like that. They've got some very unique issues of their own.
And there's a street called Flood. So
literally.
So
but
is
that's the next area that we're going to go, and our whole committee isn't going to go. It's probably going to be me or whoever the chair is at the time, along with planning and zoning, go help them form a community or a committee of their community folks that live there, and say, here's our blueprint. This is what we did. This has already been implemented. This has already been passed by City Council. You guys can do the same thing here. Okay. And so we're doing a lot of the hard work. So, 70% of the work will be done for the next committee.
All right, just to be clear on the Facebook, is it a group or is it a page or is it both? And what is it? Because I Googled just Wichita Falls. Is it neighborhood revitalization or is that different?
No, neighborhood revitalization
is.
Let me see. What is it?
Yeah. Well. Here. I did revitalization committee.
Pull that thing up so he can look.
Yeah,
at
but this page, just want to.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
a group.
That's it.
Yeah, because if you scroll down a little bit, that's
Right. That's.
Yeah, I thought that was Tim Short and Michael Battolino, but that's Michael Battolino and his son. It's one of my favorite pictures. His son's crying. Yeah. And this is actually, oh my gosh, James, I forget James's last name, but he's the interim city manager right now.
McKechnie?
Super, yes.
McKechnie, yeah, J.A. McKechnie.
Yeah, super nice guy.
Okay.
What a cool guy.
Bottom line is that it is
neighborhood
a group.
revitalization, look it up. It's a great group.
Okay.
Lots of information goes out there. Good. But then also, just like any other city committee meeting, they're posted on the city website. Okay. You got to dig around and find it, but yeah, please come. We want people to know what we're doing. We're putting a lot of time and effort into this, and not that I need pats on the backs or thank you. I don't need that. I just want to make Wichita Falls continue to be a great place to live.
Right, and one of the things is just kind of back on what we first talked about, money. Not everything needs to have money thrown at it.
Exactly.
It needs. It just needs somebody to pay attention to it, and
also plan the way you do throw the money. If you do have some money,
get to that point,
get to that point. Have a plan for it to be as efficient.
Well,
as
it
you
is
can
stuff
be.
like a prime example, like because we're going to continue going once it's been handed over to us by the city, but like code enforcement. We want if there's some sort of violation, whatever that may be, and there's tons of them available. These guys are just doing their job, right? They're trying to do good things. But I've asked, I said, well, hey, we as a committee, is there any way that we could get copies of those violations to go out and talk to somebody? Maybe it's that 85-year-old lady who can't trim her trees and doesn't have the money. So neighbors helping neighbors. We can go out and trim trees. It doesn't take long. go get it done.
Well, it's the same principle with me when I sell someone a house. You know, when I'm working with a buyer, one of the first things we do is we have a professional inspection of the property done.
Absolutely.
And that report that comes back to us helps us create a punch list of items that need to be addressed either by the seller or by the buyers when they take over the property.
Absolutely.
But that's how you formulate that plan is you get that inspection done. And that's how you come up with.
And that's why you want a professional one,
roadmap.
because if you get the non-professional one, they go and go, dude, this is a dump.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Well, same thing.
Ain't
Mike,
no way, man.
I'm sure I've known you long enough. I'm sure you're the kind of guy that, you know, as soon as you sell somebody a house, you just don't say, hey, thanks for the commission and walk away. Like,
No.
I'm the same way when I do a loan for somebody. I'm like, hey, just because we closed on the house and we're done with the loan, you know, and I
Ain't
got
rid of me
paid.
yet, right?
Yeah, like I'm still your guy. I've
Yeah.
lived here a long time. I'm the guy that knows people. You know, if you need anything on your house or what, if you have questions,
Exactly.
holler at me. And so I still have a very good relationship with, you know, all of my clients.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's important. And so it's the same thing through city revitalization. It's not, hey, we're just going to come, you know, trim your trees, you know, nice little old lady, and then we just go away. You know, she'll go on a list and we'll go by and check in on her and stuff like that. Again, neighbors helping neighbors and doing what we're supposed to do.
It's important.
Cool.
All right. Real quick, one before you leave. Now you already talked about your professional, your Victory Home Loans, but then also there's another
yes.
group that you're involved in, improv.
Improv. Well, I was wondering which one. Improv, Boy
well-
Scouts.
well,
what do you
well,
want to talk about?
Improv.
My oldest daughter's about to get her
Hey.
Eagle Scout, by the way. I'll throw that out.
Well, that's,
Oh, all right. Well,
congratulations.
congratulations
Literally
on
just
that.
moved her project out to Field and Stream. So
But
Awesome.
we've been keeping up with and promoting the shows as they come up.
Oh, thank you. That's great.
So this season's over.
it is. Yeah.
When will the calendar come out for next season? Do you know?
It's already out. You can buy season tickets for it. It's most fun you can have for $12 on a Friday
Yep.
or Saturday night. Trey may not seem very entertaining, but when he's up on stage, he's hilarious. You know, it's a lot of fun. I will say it's adult-ish.
Yes. Oh, yes.
so
It's
18
not
plus.
adult-ish. It is adult.
Yeah, it-
You're going to hear some words that rhyme
It can
with duck.
get, it can get raunchy, and there's a lot of folks that say, you know, geez, Mike, you know, that just came out of your mouth. Hey, I like to be just as surprised as everybody else. You know?
It is what it is. You put everything in the context. Yeah, you're not at church doing this. I mean, this
True.
is a nighttime event with adults, and it's an adult-only event.
Yep.
So put it in context. So yeah, check
And
it out.
realistically, it's great,
Backdoor
you know.
Theater. Check it out.
And his
Improv.
podcast, real quick. Mention your podcast.
Oh yeah, my podcast. Once Upon a Time in Texas. I wanted to do a podcast years ago. Didn't know what I was going to do it on, and I thought, well, by God, I'll do it on mortgages. I'm getting into the business. Listened to 4 or 5 other podcasts about mortgages, and it was terrible. Like, who wants to listen to that crap?
You were talking about, you wonder how Sam and Pamela pack, how they get any sleep. What about you, man? You got all this stuff going on, and you've got kids in school, and high schoolers at that, which, you know, that's a full-time and a half job in itself,
yeah.
with just one, let alone 2.
Well, you know, it's prioritizing your time, having a good calendar.
very
I mean,
much.
you prioritize time for things that are important to you.
That's it.
Sure.
And you know, I will say one thing recently that was a little bit of a downer, but it's turned into a good thing. My oldest daughter backed into a guy's truck the other day at the library, and I said, "See, that's what books get you." I always call her a nerd because she's like, "Oh, I'm going to the library." I'm like, "Nerd." But I said, "See, if you hadn't been at the library nerding out that day, you would have never backed into this guy's truck." And it turns out he's the owner of GNS Suzuki, Toby Grace. Like, super nice guy. Like, I mean, we spent 30 minutes in the library and, you know, the 50-plus zone trying to find who it was because I was going to make my daughter, you know, talk to the guy she backed in. And it didn't do a lot of damage. You know, it dented his bumper and kind of a tough deal. But, you know, I told her, one of her friends had said, you know, a couple of days later, well, you could have just driven off. And it's so true. She could have just driven off.
Yeah.
Nobody would have ever known but her.
Yep.
And, you know, but
she would have known.
Yeah, and she would have known. And, you know, she's about to be an Eagle Scout, and she's, you know, but
Yep.
Dad, I felt like that wasn't the right
Integrity.
thing. I'm like, you're right. And so,
Yep.
anyway, we did the right thing. We left a note on his window. We couldn't find him, and he called about an hour later. And, you know, he's been super cool to work with. You know, and we're just going to try to handle it between ourselves. And, you know, but I'm also kind of greasing the skids like, hey, once we get all this worked out, I'm going to have my daughter call you, and you guys are going to have the conversation because she doesn't know we've got this worked out yet. I want her to handle it. And so she does, you know, Daddy's greasing the skids. Daddy's taking care of business, but I want her to make, you know.
Well, don't let her watch this.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, she doesn't.
It's like,
Poor old guys talking on podcasts. She doesn't.
yeah, exactly. That's, yeah. And
But you're right. You make priorities for, you make time for the priorities you have in your life. And, one of these days I may slow down, but I do love Wichita Falls. I love Boy Scouts, City Revitalization, Backdoor Theater, everything we're doing. You guys, it's amazing. Love the podcast.
Thank you.
And thank you for promoting mine, the Once Upon a Time in Texas. It's just random Texas history. Yep. Just, and it just comes to me. My grandfather was a preacher, and I'd say, man, how far out do you plan your sermons and stuff? He goes, oh, no. I just let God inspire me throughout the week. and that's kind of how most of the time, I don't know what I'm doing until I sit down to do it.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of how we've done this one.
That's how it goes. Real quickly, the one thing, and I've told all my kids this, and I try to give this advice to any, especially younger people, the only thing you can control in this world is your integrity.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have 100% control over your integrity.
Yep.
You don't have 100% control over your body, your what happens around you, other people. Those are so many things that you have no control over, but you have 100% control over your integrity.
Yeah,
so always protect it.
Mike Mitchell, thank you very much for being with us to talk about neighborhood revitalization. I'll get that out.
In the heart of Wichita Falls.
Yes, very much in the heart of Wichita Falls. And we look forward to having you back. We'd like to get an update from you somewhere here in the near future.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Thank you all for having me.
All right,
Can't
guys.
thank you enough for doing what you do.
Thank you. Stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and wrap it up. It's Get It Right Texoma. Back in a moment. All right, guys, welcome back to Get It Right Texoma. I want to thank Mike Mitchell for joining us. Great interview. Yeah. Great information. Looking forward to having him back.
I really enjoyed I did improv with Mike for a couple of years, and he's a lot of fun. And improv is one of those things I miss. I got to get back into it. It's just I'm stretched with my time.
Yeah.
And I had to let something go, and unfortunately I had to. But he's really smart. He's a good person. He's good to be around. And
good people. And so I hope more people will get involved with their group and get involved.
Absolutely,
in revitalization. I think it's like I said in our interview. It's if Wichita Falls is successful, everybody around us is successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
It all helps everybody if Wichita Falls is successful. So anything we can do to improve the city, it's great for all of us, I think.
Get it done.
So,
yep.
Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. We're running way long today. I want to thank you for joining us. Be sure to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, and be sure to click the little bell so that you get the notifications on the YouTube.
Not only do
stuff.
we have the shows, we have shorts and stuff like that. So you have some little 1 minute clips or less than 1 minute clips of kind of the highlights of a lot of stuff. So
maybe we could sell our shorts.
I don't want to buy your shorts.
No. Okay. Anyway, that was improv-ish there, right there. Anyway, again, thank you for being with us. Be sure to again go to our website, getitrighttexoma.com. Follow us on Facebook. Be sure to share and like our Facebook page as well. Share, overshare.
Yes,
with everybody on the Facebook.
Okay
that's how we grow the show.
Demand people.
Exactly. Yeah. You will respect our authority. Yeah. You will. Anyway.
We have ways to make you.
That's right. Anyway, thank you very much for being with us. We appreciate it. The show is sponsored in part by Eddie Hills Fun Cycles at 401 North Scott in downtown Wichita Falls since 1966. EddieHillsFunCycles.com. MacTech Solutions, 4020 Ray Road, Suite 3B, Finishing Touch Plaza here in Wichita Falls. MacTech-Solutions.com. Christmas is we're now down to days until Christmas. And if you're looking for some great gift ideas, you want something really unique, something really special, something really cool, either one of these guys. If it's motorsports related, it's Eddie Hills Fun Cycles. If it's tech related, MacTech Solutions.
Yep.
That's as simple. I can't make it any simpler than that.
There you go.
That's where you need to shop. Really cool. And also brought to you by Lollie and Pop's Sweet Shop. If you're looking for desserts, we specialize in pecan and chocolate pies and other varieties.
Now, when do people need to get their orders in for the holidays?
You better do it now because
you guys are getting booked up, I'm sure.
We're I can just see over the pile.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, we're getting booked up fast. So get your orders in quick. You can go to lpsweet.com. That's our website. Or message us on Facebook, Lollie and Pop Sweet Shop on Facebook, LOLLIE, Lollie and Pop's Sweet Shop on Facebook. Easiest way to do it right there is get in touch with us either through the website or on Facebook and get your orders in. Guys, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, week, whatever, And we hope you'll join us for the next episode of Get It Right Texoma. Until then, y'all take care, and we shall see you down.
And keep your shorts on.
Please.